This will be the first chapter in a book by Roy Brown called Chips and the Crossword Game. That Saturday evening, early in August, Chips felt it had taken a month to run his dad to earth, and even now that he'd succeeded at last, he had an uneasy suspicion that his timing wasn't too good. Detective Sergeant Regan was kicking things about in the sitting room. His cheek twitched, his hair looked like a mop with bits missing, and when he finally sprawled in a chair, his fingers shakily fumbled for tobacco in his pouch. He had probably, for all Chips knew, spent a desperate day pursuing a carload of jewel thieves before leaping out of a burning wreck, scrambling down a cliff edge, and dodging the deadly fire from a battery of sawn-off shotguns before making a single-handed mass arrest. "Ah, Chips," he said, peeling off his tie as if someone had just tried to strangle him with it. "Something on your mind?" "Well, not really." Sergeant Regan noticed that Chips was trying to conceal a small flat object behind his back. His pocket calculator, the sergeant wasn't mistaken, and detectives rarely overlook such details. "Problem with your homework?" "We broke up last week." "So you did. Holiday project?" "No," said Chips. "Well, in a way, yes." Sergeant Regan left his chair, presumably because he wasn't too restless to sit in it. Also, from the mantelpiece, he could gaze down a long way at Chips. This was not difficult, because Chips was extremely small for his age. He was often worried, in fact, in case his neck should become deformed through constantly having to look up at people. "How can I help, Chips?" "You can't. Well, you might. It's his bargain. You remember Terry Smith?" "Smith, Terence," said the sergeant thoughtfully. "Oh, yes. Red hair, freckles. Came to birthday party, as if I could forget. Brought along his portable disco, coloured lights ingeniously connected to fireworks. What about him?" Chris gulped. "He's offloading some of his stuff." "About time, too," said Chips's dad, with what is sometimes referred to as a grim chuckle. "I hear that 5 families already moved out of the street where he lives." "Go on." "Well, it's a snip. So you just told me. Radio with a cassette player and record deck. Real hi-fi." "How high?" inquired Sergeant Regan, grinding his teeth on his pipe stem. 75 quid. 75 what?" "It must have gold-plated volume controls." 2 speakers, said Chips. "Stereo, see? That means we get twice as much row as we started with. Anyway, I hope you haven't got the idea there's 75 pounds lying about in a drawer somewhere doing nothing, and you've just had a pocket calculator for your birthday. By the way, why are you wandering around about with it stuck in the back of your pants?" "I was coming to that, Dad," said Chips. "I've been negotiating a deal. £3 a week is all he wants, which means that in about 6 months it will be mine." "I always knew they had a head for figures, Chips. Has it occurred to you, though, that by the time you paid for it, the gear may be worn out, especially in Terry Smith's hands? He probably lends it to his dad for his allotment out in all weathers, scaring the birds away." "I'm not that daft," said Chips. Almost the biggest thing about him was his chin, which, when he wanted his own way, took on an aggressive thrust. "I take delivery as soon as I've put down the first £3. "I was afraid of that. You'd better fish that calculator out, Chips, and do 1 or 2 new sums on it. For instance, how much pocket money do you get these days?" "£1 a week." "Inflation. Well, here's a little problem for your calculator. Tap out 1 or 2 keys and see if it comes up with some crafty method of paying Terry Smith £3 a week out of £1 pocket money, even supposing you give up sweets and football. Football season doesn't start for another month. Anyway, I've got a different idea. Holiday job." "Doing what?" "All laid on, Dad. Paper round at Newgart's. The newsagent's across town. I answered an advertisement and he's taken me on. Starting Monday. I need your permission, of course." "How much is it paid a week?" £2.50. He stopped trying to hide the pocket calculator. "I didn't really need this to work it out. £2.50 a week for the paper round, plus £1 a week pocket money means I can't pay Terry Smith off and still have 50p left. I don't care about sweets, and when the football season starts I can always watch it on Match of the Day. With music, and you'll keep the round on after the holiday, and to heck with homework." "Well, I'm not stopping you. You can even have the hi-fi so long as you stuff blankets under the door of your bedroom." That's all he wanted, Chips. "I'm thinking of taking a bath before tea." Chips shuffled from one foot to the other. "There's just one snag. Well, sort of. We'll need a bike." We'll need a bike, echoed Sergeant Regan, swaying slightly with the shock. For the paper round, said Chips. I was hoping they'd have one online, but Mr. Nougat says we'd have to have a bike. We had to have a bike. We even got the saddle low enough so we could reach the pedal. And what did we do with this bike, Chips? We left it outside unchained and had it pinched. Chips's chin jutted out a little further. I did report it to the police, and a lot of good that was. Anyway, I've worked that out too. Worked what out? It wouldn't have to be special. Not a race or anything, just any old bike would do. So long as it was safe. We could do it up a bit, couldn't we? Shouldn't cost more than 20 quid. 20, sighed Sergeant Regan. It was a mistake, Chips, your mother and I, buying that pocket calculator for your birthday. It's given you illusions of grandeur. Alright, so we've got the shaky deal on with Terry Smith. We've even decided to do without footballs and sweets, and stop me if I'm wrong, but I make it that we have 50 pence a week left out of our total income. Electronic calculators are a marvellous invention, but I don't see how yours came up with some remarkable method of producing an extra £20 out of thin air. Alone, I thought. Say the bike costs £20. You lend me the money and I pay you back 25 pence a week. Chips risked a grin. Alright, all over in about 80 a week, give or take. You take and I give, and you've forgotten the interest. Interest? 10%, said Sergeant Regan, who could be a ruthless man on occasion. And what sort of bike are you going to give me pounds? Probably need new tyres for a start, and a lamp for the mornings, and a pump, and a puncture outfit, and a bag. Sorry, Chip, it's on. You'd be getting in too deep. Mind you, as I've said, I'm not against you doing a paper round. Be better exercise than letting Mitzi drag you all over town. But you better keep tapping away at that miracle machine, Chips, and come up with a new program. For instance, you could cut out the record deck, couldn't you? After all, how many buttons you press, you won't be able to afford records. Why not drop one of the speakers, or the cassette recorder? Your budget won't stretch to cassettes either, and Chips, be a good lad. Don't wait till I'm gone and then try dazzling your mother with statistics. She's even worse at arithmetic than I am. So that's the first chapter in that one.